Gustafsson signed a fight. He's going to come back, take on Ben Rothwell. Now, I have questioned every move that Gustafsson has made in the last 3 years. But I question it as a big fan of Gustafsson, and I follow his career very closely. I've told him things about his career before that he forgot happened. Not kidding about that. I feel like I study his career a little bit closer than he does, but hear me out on this, because at one point along the way, Gustafsson retires. And it was very clear and evident from watching him compete. He did not need to retire. He chose to retire. Fine, no problem. But I still want to have a discussion with him about that. Because physically speaking, what goes away over time, they call it father time. Father time beats everybody. But the things that go away, starting with your speed, starting with your chin, going into your power, your grit, your toughness. When you start going down the list, he has all of them. They're not even at a deficit. They're not even being attacked. Everything looked great, but hold the thought on Gustafsson because he's a mega star. And a lot of us don't understand this. With Gus comes an entire country of Sweden. Every time the organization has gone to Sweden, they put Gustafsson in the main event and they sell out, completely out. So it's a very big deal. I know you guys like him, but I want you to also understand he's a massive star. Anytime you can do something and a whole country comes with you, you're a big deal. Can we agree? Not to mention Gus has given us some of the great fights ever. Two of the absolute razor-thin closest world title fights was Gus versus Jon Jones, Gus versus Daniel Cormier. Where it got done, you don't know who won. You look around and go, I don't know who won. All right. Gus decides he's going to stop the sport, but it's relevant that you understand. When someone like me pushes back, says, Gus, you're looking at this wrong. Your experience within this sport is not a normal experience within this sport. Other guys don't have 3 world title fights, just by example. Other guys don't main event every single show that they've done for the last half a decade. 5-round fights only. Preparation for 25-minute contests only. The biggest media tour because you're the marquee guy only. There's another way to do the sport. Instead of being in the marquee position, you could come down a spot. You could go into the co-main event. He's for sure going to be on the main card. My point by saying come down to the co-main event is now you're in a 3-round situation. You don't have the same pressure on your shoulders to do the media. You have a little bit more time to yourself. You don't have to travel around as much. You don't have to sell an event as much. You then don't have to prepare the same ways. And preparing for 3 rounds versus 5 rounds is vastly different. But when you're in a spot, what I interpreted that happened to Gus is Gus said, do I want to keep doing this? And it's not just walk out there and compete. Do I want to continue to prepare? Do I want to continue to have this life? Do I want to continue to be sore? Do I want to continue to sacrifice everything because I'm solely committed to this? No. For a moment in time, the answer was no. Gus only knew one way out. That was to stop completely. Hold the phone. No, Gus. First off, leave the main event. Even if it's for 2 or 3 fights, just leave the main event. See how you do feel preparing and training the way you used to prepare and train back when you loved this, when you were trying to climb the ladder to where you got, which was the marquee position. Secondly, let's get rid of this 205-pound business. Gus is a big, tall, long guy. He's going to be very problematic for anybody at heavyweight, and with the smallest amount of time, 5-6 months, small amount of time, he's going to be a good-sized heavyweight. So, I get my way. Gus leaves the main event, he comes down to the co-main spot, and he moves up to heavyweight. Everything is going my way. He runs into Fabricio Verdum, and he ends up in the one position that he can't end up in with Fabricio Verdum, gets his arm caught, happens early. The whole mission was a failure in Gus's mind. No, it wasn't. It was one position with the one guy you can't let have your arm. And I knew as soon as he lost that fight, we're not going to see Gus again. He's going to throw his hands up, and he just reinforced every doubt that he had in his own mind about himself and the future of his career. Gus is out, and that's what happened. Well, no, he thought it through, came back again. Now, I don't want to give you the whole timeline. I'll just fast forward you right now. He signed a contract. He's going to fight Ben Rothwell. I'm not satisfied yet. I haven't got everything that I want. I need 3 pieces. I got 2 of them. Coming down on the card, doing a more reasonable fight. Now, if you guys think you have to correct me and Gus versus Rothwell is the main event, I apologize. I don't think it is at the time that I'm talking to you, but this news did just come out. Secondly, he's at heavyweight. I love it, but I don't have everything I need. The next thing I need is for Gus to start looking at an opponent and the date of his next fight and the one after that. I need a commitment, not an experiment. When he came back and he took on Verdum, and frankly, he looked very good against Verdum. It was one position, and it was the number one position you can't do with that specific opponent. But he was looking at it as a one-off. Let's try this. This is trial by fire. I'm in there with the former champion. I'm not in this weight class. He's definitely a legitimate heavyweight. Let's just see where we stand. He didn't like the result. So I got the weight that I want. I got the placement of the card that I want. What I need to know from Gus is that this isn't an experiment again. He is now a heavyweight. He is going to take on a full schedule. He is going to come through the rankings. He is going to work his way up. And that he has a plan to do just that. There turns a point in your career where you got to take it day by day. Generally, you take the whole thing. But it doesn't seem too big to bite. You're excited. You're fired up. Eventually, you got to take it day by day. But day by day, which Gus is doing, does have a consequence. And the consequence is that the effort isn't fully there because you're already partway out. If you're taking on a full schedule, I got 3 guys. Ben Rothwell is somewhere I'm going to stop in between. I'm going to use that for my preparation for this guy, who I'm going to use for my preparation for this guy, who I'm going to use to be back in the main event. It's a mentality. He can't make that happen. Nobody has a magic wand, but we're very close with Gus because I know you guys are Gus fans too. Every time I talk about Gus, we do great numbers. I'm not the only one that likes him. And we got 2 of the 3 pieces needed. Placement, the weight class. The third piece is just mental. It's only mental with Gus. We'll never know if we've got it or not, so somebody get this video to him. So we can't have him look at, okay, I'm going to do Rothwell one day at a time. I'm going to see how it goes with Ben Rothwell. To hell with that. I'm going through Ben Rothwell to get to the next guy. He's got to have a long-term plan. That's the strategy that he's always had. Those are the conditions he's always in, the confines that he has always worked his best under. 2 of the 3 steps are there. Hey, Gus, long-term plan.